Hi everyone, this is Paul Wood with Siinda, and we're having another Voice of the Customer, and we're delighted to have Martina Bottini with us, who is the owner of Krazy Playdays Soft Play and Party Centre in Reading, UK. And she'll be talking to us today about some of the challenges that she's faced with the coronavirus pandemic, and some of the thoughts she has on how she's going to address some of the issues she will face ongoing in months. So welcome, Martina. Thank you very much for joining us today. Could you just tell us a little bit about Krazy Playdays and when you've been started and how long you've been in business and services you offer?
Sure, we're a soft play and party centre based in Reading in the UK. I've had the business now for 10 years. We offer a host of different areas, including a soft play structure, a restaurant for about 200 people. We offer parties that run simultaneously to that business, and we do private hires. We host special educational needs nights, both with the local council as well as our own. We also do private hires and offer laser parties privately as well.
I wouldn't mind a good laser party, but these days and age, they're not really letting people in, are they?
No.
But you're pretty much embedded. I mean, some of the things you're offering, like after hours services, is that in conjunction with the council and certain groups around Reading?
Yeah, one of them, certainly one of them is we run a joint session with Family Forum. That's the local council's support network for parents that have children with serious special educational needs. So
No, that's great. So you're well known in the community. Are there any other competitive play centres around nearby?
Yeah, there's a couple in Reading. Unfortunately, our main competitor went out of business a couple of years ago. It's a very small margin business. To make it affordable for people to attend, you have to be very careful on your cash flow and the way that you run the business. They went out of business, sadly, a couple of years ago, but there's one other in the centre of Reading called the Madhouse. They are a lot smaller, so probably attract a younger clientele. Yes, I'd probably cite them as our biggest competitors in Reading.
And what sort of, how would you say describe your promotion activities before this pandemic and sort of the things you would do to attract business, sort of maybe in the early years and in the more recent times?
Well, we sort of made the decision very early on, because there are so many ways of spending your money on advertising and marketing, to not spend any money on advertising and marketing. We very much focus on what the sort of Twitter, Facebook. We've advertised through people coming into the business with flyers, etc., and really rely heavily on word of mouth. And with our parties, out of one party, we'll usually get 1 to 2 bookings from the party. So from that point of view, it's very organic, I suppose.
Super. And I think you mentioned before that you keep your Google My Business listing up to date.
Absolutely.
Obviously, and to go along with the Facebook and you mentioned that your employees.
And websites.
Yeah. Can people book online? Does it have an e-commerce functionality on there?
No, not at the moment, but that's something that we're probably looking at going forward. But no, and that's because of operational difficulties and just balancing numbers of people and making sure that we're getting to the right conclusion.
Yeah. So with the pandemic, I take it that you're one of the businesses that has been sort of completely shut down from the government's perspective because of the proximity and everything.
Yeah.
How long do you anticipate that carrying on?
Well, at the moment, we've been sort of our date for reopening really is sort of the 4th of July, but at the moment, I can't see that being the actual date. But obviously, it depends on, things move really fast. When you're in the position to open, I think it will move really fast. But it feels like it's going to be extended longer. But 4th of July at the moment.
Do you have any thoughts about how you'll sort of kickstart your business? And you mentioned you had a restaurant. I'm sure it's more of a sort of kids targeted restaurant that's
Absolutely, yeah.
Bangers and chips and mash and that sort of.
Yeah, we do incredibly good healthy options, mind you, and we do focus on that. It's not just all about chicken nuggets and burgers, but mostly.
Well, you can see where my mind is.
Yeah.
But
and the children.
Yeah. So how are you? So how do you think you will communicate? Communicate the opening, because one of the things that's going to be a real concern, I think, is your response to COVID-19, about how you're going to maintain cleanliness and hygiene, I guess, in your environment, communicating that out to potential visitors and customers.
Yeah, I think it's we're going to have to make sure that we are very clear as to what guidelines we're following, why we're following them, and how we are going to keep our team members and our customers safe. We'll do that through, I'm sure we'll do that through social media, you know, make it very clear. The trouble is, of course, you don't want to give people lists of what you're doing, but, you know, we'll try and make it very clear via social media that we're taking it incredibly seriously, and maybe bombard them now and then with a massive list. But then, you know, within the play centre itself, we'll be adding additional signage to make sure that people are very clear what the expectations are, where things are being controlled, how, you know, as per our risk assessments, how we're going to manage it going forward.
You mentioned to me that one of your first challenges, when we were talking before, the first challenges is your employees, making them feel safe.
Well, it's got to start, you know, we employ up to 30 people at any time, and, you know, they are operational. I'm not operational necessarily. Sometimes I am, but they are very, very close to the operation, and they need to feel safe in what they're doing. They'll know the details of the nuances of what can happen. So it's very much about including them in the risk assessments, making sure that they feel at ease, and then we can pass that on to our customers. So.
And do you think it's going to be, are there any things that you're sort of thinking about that might be a way to, because there's social distancing. I mean, I see a lot of the 2+2 here in Estonia. They're talking about, you know, 2 family members and, you know, 2 strangers or whatever, and 2 meters and everything. Yeah. When you come to your environment, how are you going to socially distance? Let's say you open in July, but there's still a social distancing requirement, and how?
Well, I think,
do you have any tips and tricks on how you're going to do it? I mean, these are very difficult questions. I'm just asking for your thoughts more than an answer.
Yeah, no, I think I've got some structure around those thoughts. You know, for example, if children are allowed back at school and that's not proving to be an issue with regards to, you know, having another spike of cases, then there's no reason why people can't have a party and invite all their school friends. You know, it's just about limiting the amount of adults that there are there to make sure that they are social distancing, and, you know, looking at the age groups that don't need an adult to be with them, helping them on the play structure and things like that. So that's quite important. I think, you know, from the private party situation, and as long as you're not then opening that to every school, you know, and you are narrow with who's being invited, that can be done. I think it really depends on what comes out of the new guidelines with regards to children, and whether they are, you know, super spreaders, and which they don't believe that they are. So therefore, it's very much focusing on the adults and how we socially distance them, which can be done. You know, there's certain ideas, like we've, as I say, it's a 200-seater restaurant, and we've got about 40 very large tables. And so using one table in between 2 tables as a place to deliver food, as a place to, you know, share the plates, so people are never close contact. We're very lucky that we have a very large play centre, so, you know, the space is not an issue. I suppose we'll also be looking at people ordering food through some sort of app. So it means that you don't need to queue at the servery or be in face-to-face contact with the team members. I think with regard, if we do get to the point that we're allowed to have people come in as a individual, you know, basis, as we always had, We may be looking at people booking online so we can stagger arrivals. So, you know, historically, we could have had a queue of 60 people, you know, when we open, if it's raining, because of people want to get their toddlers out and about and busy. So, you know, we're going to have to manage the fact that we don't want all those people arriving. We want individuals coming in, but at a regular but broken time.
So if I just sort of don't know I think these are brilliant thoughts, because as I'm looking at it, you've relied on a lot of social media and a lot of word of mouth and the relationships that you've built in with the schools and the local community. And as you open up again, you will reactivate those channels, obviously. But
and
the
before,
process,
hopefully.
well, hopefully yes. But the process of getting people inside and what they do when they're inside is very interesting. So then you're going to use, I mean, I think the idea of an app's very interesting, whether it's an app that's on the table waiting for somebody or whether they download it to their phone. If they download it to the phone, then you can message them all day long, haven't seen you in a while, come back and order some food and play, which I find fascinating. But also, you know, the idea of using e-commerce to stagger bookings, that was never an issue before. That's really really interesting. And obviously booking parties as well, they'd be able to use that functionality on there too. That's really interesting. And that would, I'm assuming, be there to stay, even if that was totally relaxed. So assuming there's a complete vaccine and there's no problems, the idea of using the app and using that.
You see, I've always liked the idea of face-to-face contact. You know, it's another place to sort of touch the customer, if you like, instead of going through an app. But, you know, the downside, queuing, you know, taking time, etc. So if this proves to be useful, yes, it would be something that would stay.
But it's very interesting if they've got it on their phone and you can find a way to message them when they're not at the play center, one-to-one, saying, hey, we're running a special on this. So when things are relaxed, you can use it as an engagement tool. So that's just me being the marketing guy, and they may not want it. But there you go. I can see you going, no, don't like that.
No, you know what it is? As a consumer myself, when I get those things from people, I personally, you can imagine me and Renato, I personally dislike it intensely, which is why I've always been against certain things like that. Where of course Ren is like, right, what we can do is, you know, I'm like, no. So yeah,
maybe there's an opt-in happy medium that people say, Martina, please let me book a place, and because they could eventually book their party or book their stuff through the app as well. So I fully understand. I tend to use a lot of fake email addresses when I sign up for things as well. So because I don't want them following me around in different places. So you're not alone.
Yeah.
But no, that's
no,
brilliant.
I don't actually. I should do that.
You need a set of accounts, of email accounts that you can use. So, but listen, is there anything else you'd like to add? I mean, we absolutely wish you the best of luck with this.
Thank you.
Is there any other things you'd like to share, or?
No, I think it has to be, you know, at the moment for all businesses, they'll just be managing their cash flow to stay afloat for as long as physically possible and make sure that you know, applying for anything that you're entitled to. We're very lucky here with the furloughing and the business rates and various other routes. But nothing else.
Well, we wish you absolutely the best of luck, and I think Reading deserves some of the services you offer there, and it sounds like they're missing them and they're going to need them coming out when they come out of this. So I'm hoping that you can reopen soon. Thank you very, very much for your time, and speak to you soon. Thanks, Martina.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.